Let's go. All right, you guys. Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. As you guys know, it's Freestyle Friday. My name is Donnell Cole. I am here with my man, Dr. Damon, in Modern Manhood, which is a masterclass specifically designed to help men level up and become the best versions of who they're called to become. So,
Come on.
as we do on these Fridays, man, we like to bring people that bring extreme value to our platform, to our group, that is extraordinary people that we value, that we think are amazing, that we know inspire us in such a way that mediocrity is not a thing that we can become accustomed to. So today I got my brother Cordney Mac Woods, you know what I'm saying, the God, the dynasty, the king, the ruler. I'm gonna build him up one time, but I got his bio right in front of me
There you
before
go.
Dr. Damon drop on. So let me go. So Courtney Mac Woods McClain is director of diversity and inclusion within the Price College of Business at the University of Oklahoma. He has a master's along with several other business certifications with over a decade of mentorship and professional development experience, holding several chair and board positions such as University Central Oklahoma's Black Male Initiative and the Star Foundation for the Metro Technology Center of Oklahoma City. His passion for service has afforded him an award, Oklahoma Journal Records Achievers Under 40. What's up, bro? Courtney is a member of the Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. I want to make sure I
Yes,
said it
sir.
right because you guys roll deep. An Oklahoma Army National Guard veteran. Salute. All right. An Oklahoma Army National Guard veteran and the official spoken word artist of the Oklahoma Police Department's Juvenile Outreach Program. God, man. So listen, you guys, you want me to go ahead and do the whole thing?
Nah,
Professor
you good.
accolades aside. Okay, okay. So my man is a poet. He's an actor. Shot in the movie Black Wall Street. Amazing movie. What else? A Girl's Dad.
Girls Dad.
Um,
Shout out to Jay Wig.
yeah, shout out
Girls
to Jay
Dad.
Wiggs. Yeah, Jay Wiggs, another icon that I extremely adore, that I think is amazing. Man, so welcome to the platform, bro.
Man, I appreciate you having me, man.
Absolutely,
Now,
absolutely.
I will say, I have to admit, I had to coordinate my girls earlier this morning. So when I woke them up much earlier, like at least maybe 30, 40 minutes earlier, they're like, what's going on? What are you doing?
How was the energy of
they,
that?
they said it's not time to wake up yet. I said, hey, daddy got to do some stuff. I got to get you going. Yeah,
That's
they
dope.
they wasn't having it, but I blamed it on Uncle Donnell, so it's all good.
I'll take all of it. Look, your girls, they definitely don't have a problem with showing you how they feel either. Lord.
Hey, oh man, shout out to you and Nitro for putting that together, man, with the
Already.
Halloween party.
Yo,
That
shout
was
out to
fire, bro.
Nitro. I'm about
But
to hit him
my
up
but
right
my
now.
oldest, it's funny about my oldest, man. I thought she was going to be, she is social, but she's shy at the same time. But very much like her mother, when my wife is around new people,
Uh-huh.
she's very reserved. But as soon as she like kind of has some type of familiarity with you, she opens up and she's bubbly and goofy. But starting out, yeah, she don't mess with too many people, and that's just like how both my girls are. But you see the youngest one, she got a whole bunch of personality.
That's dope, bro. That's dope. And I even saw that I seen how she was warming up to the idea of it.
Yeah,
One is like one party, like that's kind of cool because that's how we are. Like one to take on like the personalities of the mother and one to take up personalities of the father.
yeah, and so um even and the youngest one, we thought she was going to be quiet, but now
Mm,
she's crunk.
yeah,
She's crunk, and you
you can
see how
see
she
that.
came in. As soon as I gave her some candy, she was straight.
Yeah,
And she, in the potato sack race and everything like that. So she has a lot more personality than we thought. When she first came out, she was mean and she was quiet. And I was like, oh man, we got something on our hands. Well, she's still a handful, but
that's fun.
but her personality, totally switched up, which is crazy being a parent and seeing the evolution of your kids and how their
Absolutely.
personalities change. And
Yeah,
but it's a total blessing being a parent because you get to be involved
yeah,
with that personality, with how that person is developing. You get to be involved with that, man. You get to kind of handcraft that. Now, the person they become,
whole nother story.
might be a whole other story.
Right.
but
Listen, so I'm about
but
to.
you had a large you played a large part in developing that person. So I think that's just dope about being a parent.
So just so people know what we're talking about today, you guys, we're all girl dads. I have four daughters. Mac has two daughters. And
Ultimate
Matthew
girl
Damon
dad.
has one. I kept praying for that boy, and I was like, "Look, Lord, I get it, I
Whew.
get it. So let me raise some of the most extraordinary girls that's on this planet, right? Because I don't think I'm getting a boy out of this. It's just not happening.
Hey man,
So
that's why I mentor. That's
absolutely,
those are all my
Yeah.
sons. I'm
yep.
not, yeah, I'm good.
I think so. Listen, I'm gonna drop in and Donnell, you made a good point there. You having four daughters, Courtney, you have two. Listen, I've got one, and I'm gonna tell you, you guys are already superheroes because I
How, how old is yours?
how Willow, she'll be 6 December, so
Yeah,
she'll
she
be 6 right before Christmas, and
Oh, that's dope.
ironically, we're having this chat. Like we're checked in with you guys, and I was telling you, I was a few minutes behind getting rolling. Willow's not feeling too good today, so I called into work. I'm hanging out at the house with Will's today. She's on the couch, and I'm telling you, she's good. She's got My Little Pony. She's got breakfast
yeah, yeah.
and her favorite water bottle. She's good to go. But I think it speaks a lot to really the experiences that we go through when we're talking about not just raising
Mm-hmm.
daughters but raising children is
Right.
it's
Right.
it's a whole new ball game every day,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Or not
Every
even
every every
raising, but
day.
I would say nurturing,
There you
because
go.
Mm,
it's a different context within when it comes to actually making. I guess one of my friends wanted to understand, how do you raise daughters to be emotionally available? Because a lot of times as they mature, depending on the things that they face, they don't always find it easy to connect emotionally. So I got a
mhm.
question. How has raising a daughter that you believe, how do you believe has changed you as far as raising daughters?
Making me soft. Soft as hell. No, I'll be real with you. Um, so within maybe 6 months of me and my wife dating, she told me, "Hey man, you I don't know if this is gonna work because
Wow.
Mm,
you're not emotionally available like I need you to be."
Your wife said
Because
wow.
that?
I wasn't raised like that. I just
Mm,
wasn't raised to be emotionally. I will say that I had emotional intelligence,
Mm,
but the act of really being emotionally available, that's two different dynamics.
talk about that.
So
talk
so
about
you know,
that. Yeah.
so yeah, so I can understand that I need to be there for someone. I can understand that I can show empathy in certain ways, but I wasn't in practice. I didn't grow up really nurturing. When
Hmm.
Mm,
someone is really going through that, I can recognize it because I'm a smart guy. I can
Right,
recognize it. And
right,
I
right.
grew up in a house full of women. My family, the McClains, are like 98% women. So when it
Wow.
comes to the emotional intelligence, I believe I've always had that. It's the emotional availability and
mm,
the act of practicing that empathy is something that I didn't have practice in. So
Right.
with my woman, and we was just dating at that time, like I said, maybe 6 months in, she was like, "Man, this ain't gonna last because of your emotional unavailability."
Right.
So what I did was I tried to really tap into that. Now the result of that is, you want to say hello? She just want to
Yeah.
stuck with this.
There
Say
you
hello.
go.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, what's up? Good morning. Good morning.
good morning.
Okay. Yeah. She just wanted to do that because so what that did for me is, man, it was a transition even in my work life, in life period, how I deal with people. With your woman, you have to be softer, you have to be more tactful. I always say, f humble, you have to be more gracious when
Right.
you're dealing with your woman, with your partner. Now I have a house full of women, so that's
Man.
affecting how I deal with people because now I'm having to bring out this nurturing part of myself in the household so intentionally that when I go out into the street or when I go out into dealings with people that aren't my wife and my daughters,
Right.
I'm more caring now. I'm more emotionally available. These things are kind of highlighted in my life now because I have to be so intentional about it within my household.
Right.
So no, it's been a huge change for me because I wasn't really that guy before my wife let me know, homie, you're gonna have to change.
That's dope, man. That is
Yeah,
really,
man.
really dope. I think the same way too, especially with my daughter being older and see that some of the challenges that they had to face. couldn't always show up as a person that has all the knowledge and wisdom to pass on, but being nurturing and love to allow them to exercise their own sense of power in
Yeah.
whichever way that looks like, but still being empathetic enough to say, hey, I'm willing to join your challenge with you and meeting them
Yeah.
exactly where they're at. I think that's the passion, the power of like vulnerability to say, you
Mhm.
know what, let me lower my world and what I got going on to actually share this with you. It
Yeah.
creates a
Because
greater sense of union. That's what it does.
yeah, because even when you talk about like kind of like that attention, we're men of several grinds. We have a whole bunch of
Absolutely.
different passions, right? And I'm used to, before kids, I'm used to putting my blinders up. So
Facts.
I'm focused. But you can't be like that with kids. And for me, something that, dealing with daughters, you know, I need to make sure that she's having that positive reinforcement, that encouragement,
Right.
that more intentional "I love you,"
Hmm.
letting her, continuously know I love you, I'm proud of you. Even as a little girl, I'm proud of the woman you're becoming.
Right.
Like being intentional with
Absolutely.
letting her know that. And sometimes it's hard to do that when you're a man of uh many
Laser
talents
focus.
and you got that focus and you have your
Yeah.
blinders on. It's hard to do that for someone else because of your focus. So
Hmm.
that has changed me being intentional with making sure,
Man.
even when I mentor people, I find myself reaching out to them more, and it's easier for me to do that now
Hmm.
because
Mhm.
of what I'm doing in my household.
That's dope.
I think you made a
You know, the
good
thing
point
about it
when
too is
we
it builds trust.
That
when we
that man,
exactly.
that trust is so key too,
Yeah,
man.
it
And
is. Because when
that,
they
that
don't
trust
see
is key
it,
because look,
yeah.
I told myself, okay, I'm gonna have a girl. And now going back to even at the beginning, I knew I was gonna have girls. I already knew it. I had
Hmm.
dreams. I had dreams of
Mm.
Coco and Mila when I was in high school. Um,
Wow.
so my uncles, well, my grandmother had 10 children, six are girls, including my mother, of course, and then four boys. And all of my uncles, their firstborn were girls. So I just knew I'm gonna have a girl.
Oh yeah,
I'm
y'all
gonna
wasn't
have,
doing right.
See,
I knew
Coming
no.
from a long line of
hey,
ancestors that
I
wasn't
knew
doing
what it
right.
was. I knew what it was off top. So I'm like, so I guess my subconscious was telling me too, because I was dreaming of a girl that looked
Hmm.
like me with
Mhm.
long hair, look she looked like my mom, or she looked
Hmm.
like me, and she had long curly hair. Coco. You know what I'm
Interesting.
saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I had that dream damn near when I was a sophomore, junior in high school, bro.
Hmm.
So I knew my first was gonna be a girl. Now, my wife, she wanted boys. It's because she has an estranged relationship with women.
Yeah.
Hmm.
She had a strange relationship with women. She's like, I don't know how my relationship's gonna be,
Wow.
with having girls. So she was very much worried about that. And
Yeah.
it really stressed her out to know that she was gonna have girls, right?
Mm.
So so Mila heard me. Now she telling on. now she
You know,
now she telling Sherelle. She
That's the
telling
life
Sherelle, oh,
right
you
there
wanted
too.
boys, huh?
what the it's interesting because like that space, I think this is a conversation that I have with my wife, and it's not the most comfortable conversation that we have with our mates or even with anybody outside of the boys, is
Yeah,
when we talk about moving into fatherhood. We talk about having kids, and even in the experience that the time you spend before you know the gender of your baby. What is natural is for us to say, oh, we're
yeah,
looking for a sire, we're looking for,
yep,
we're looking for a mini me. And when
yeah,
we get into that space where we find out we're having a girl,
yeah,
I can say for me, it wasn't a space of disappointment, because I honestly, being a father has always been a part of, my future and my vision for the
right,
man that I wanted to be. But I'll be honest, I got caught off guard with the thoughts and the looking ahead at what that looked like, because personally, I'm the oldest of four boys, right?
yeah,
And my wife is who we call the youngest of five boys. none of us grew up with this experience of
Yeah.
girlhood, if you will, even her. And so,
Man.
not to say that it was a disappointment, but it really caught us off guard because
Yeah.
she had a dream that we were going to have a boy. So when we talk about that experience, and I shared with her that I'm not disappointed about Willow. She's amazing,
Yeah.
and I love being her father. But there was a part of me that once I became a parent, and I really had to look at, like, I didn't know I wanted a son so badly. And that's a space that I feel like we had to traverse together. And a lot of
Yeah.
guys I know have shared in that feeling and that experience, but it's hard to talk about it when the first thing that comes to you is, oh, so you don't, so you're not happy about your child.
Yeah.
And so my uncle, I used to pick up game really early. And the funny thing, that's a whole different conversation. But when our elder men,
Mm,
black men, had to deal with so much outside of the household. So when it came to giving game, man, it had to be an intentional black man to really put game on us. It would literally be like random. Like my uncle would see me maybe slouched over, he'll punch me in the chest
mhm,
real quick and be like, "Hey boy, you walk with your chest up." Like, but that wasn't intentional. I mean, it wasn't intentional. It wasn't like sitting me down and being like, "Courtney, this is why you walk with your head up." It
Right.
wasn't anything like
yeah.
that. It
Wasn't
was more in
coached.
passing, right?
Right.
So I say that to say some of the game that I got was, look, nephew, if you have girls, um, if you have a boy, you only got to worry about one penis.
Right.
Hmm,
But if you have a girl, you got to worry about a million penises.
right.
so
Man.
so
That's real. I
you
think that's
know,
like that's the thing that men don't want to think about it here, bro.
bro,
Woo.
I plan to be, and shout out to Elijah Muhammad, man. Me and that brother was on the phone the other day, and he's so real with his
He's a
daughters.
good,
And he
yeah,
has
good
older
guy.
daughters. And
Yeah.
one thing that I always told myself is I want to be intentional and hands-on and very real with my daughters. I
Facts.
want to have those real
Yeah.
conversations.
Yeah.
I want to have those conversations about, oh, you plan to have sex? Well, let me tell you about boys and
Right.
sex. I'm gonna be very,
Right.
very real and blunt, because to me,
Mhm,
you have to be that blunt because you have to
Yeah.
give them the game, or
Right.
somebody else can, if you don't, if you keep them naive, then they're going to be subject to manipulation.
Facts.
yeah.
They haven't been taught. Nobody was super real with them. So then they get out in this world and anybody can tell them anything. And
Right.
Mhm,
especially if and that's one reason I'm very hands-on with making sure my babies get all of that masculine
Right.
attention from
Right.
me, because I don't want them out in this world. We know what it's like.
Right.
We
Hey, yeah,
Man, come
absolutely.
on now. We
Right.
three handsome brothers.
Right.
You know what it's like
Right.
when a woman doesn't have a father figure
Right.
or hasn't had that attention in their life.
Right.
They're subject to
mhm,
manipulation, and
Validation.
and and, it,
Yeah.
and it's and it's easy pickings.
Right.
You know what I'm
So
saying? So for me to be able to create these strong black women and have a sense of self worth and
mhm,
understanding that, nah, I know what that Playboy shit look like.
man.
My pops put me on game. I can read you. I don't need that. You know what I'm saying? Like for me to be able to be that example for them.
Right.
Um,
mhm,
I heard this quote. It says, fathering is not something perfect men do, but something that perfects the man."
I
So
like it.
so
mm,
I have to
yeah.
be intentional with how I treat my mom, how I treat my wife, how I treat them,
Absolutely.
because they're
Yeah.
watching that.
Right.
And it's not about what you tell kids, it's about what you show them. Your
Right.
actions speak volume to kids.
Yeah.
And I see that in my kids, because if I say something slick, especially the young one, if I say something slick, she'll come back and and copy me.
Yeah.
Even when I'm chopping it up on the phone, me and Jay Wig always on the phone. So when me and Jay Wig on the phone and we greet each other like "Peace, God," or "What's up, bro?" and I'll hear Mila walking around, "What's up, bro? What's up, bro?" So
Yeah.
I hear her
Yeah.
mimicking me.
We got a couple questions.
Oh, go, what's up, what's
Yeah.
up?
Yeah, so I think it's a twofold, man. When I think about that, it's like I want to emulate every virtue that I want you to find appealing in the man, so you can understand what a true man looks like, and accountability, trust, edifying your own worthiness. but
Right.
also
Mhm.
being mindful not to project my own shortcomings into your
Mm.
life because I didn't have a father having to be above and beyond to the point
Yes.
it's
Right.
unrealistic. So I like my daughters to see, us going out grinding, creating, but I also like them to see when I do make mistakes and be accountable for it and call me
Mm.
on it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's a
Listen,
beautiful journey.
I try to apologize in front of my daughter as much as I
That
can. It's
that
it's
right there is so
intentional.
key.
It's intentional that I try to apologize in front of her and hear me, like not just to her, yes, to
Yeah,
her in as many cases as I can appropriately, but in front of her. When
Yeah.
me and my wife are disagreeing and we needed
yeah,
to take some space, right?
Yeah.
I try to apologize to my wife in front of my daughter because
Yeah.
I want
smart.
her to see that that's an action, that is a
Yeah.
decision, that's the focus of what it looks like to have good conversations. Because if I'm being honest, there are conversations we've had that weren't the best. They didn't come out the
Yeah.
best, and they certainly, I feel like there are conversations I've had and gotten into that I shouldn't have gotten into in front of her, and I know I could have had better self
Man,
control,
yeah,
and she's
Yeah.
seen that.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm making sure, I'm like, I have to make sure that she sees more of how conversations, how confrontations, how uncomfortable feelings
man,
are
yes, and
Yeah.
give
expressed,
perfect.
right?
Yeah.
We need to talk
That's
more about that self-control, bro. Like that's a big
Yeah.
deal in being emotional available, telling them how to handle emotions. So my daughters are dealing with hormones, bruh. Bruh, listen. It's a different
Amen.
level of energy when they step into
Woo.
having hormones, when they get mad. I'm like, baby, can you see how you changed the whole climate of the house? You know
Hey,
what I'm saying? Like,
I'm going to need a man cave. I'm going to need to
yeah, bro.
be ducked
Okay,
off for a little
I
bit.
want to I want to get Elijah's question. He said, "How do you deal with teaching your daughters about self beauty versus society's version of beauty?"
Oh,
Mm,
I see it's pretty, baby. So,
There you go, just like
there
that.
you go. Just right. Case in point.
all
There
right,
it
so
is.
all right,
What's
so
pretty beauty?
one thing that me and my wife was very intentional on is how when the babies are really small and either they're chunky, they're fat, or they're a little mean or whatever. We were very intentional with not telling our girls you're little fat baby, you a little
Yeah,
mean baby. Like we were very intentional with making sure we weren't doing that.
yeah.
So it was
Mhm.
always smart baby. It was always beautiful baby. It was always
Speaking her
powerful
words.
baby. It was
Yeah,
always words of encouragement. Like,
mhm.
come here, come here,
Oh, you even got like a. They got a mantra too.
come here, come here. What you tell them? What are you? Tell them again. What are you? See, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, that's powerful,
So
bro.
yeah, so I don't.
Yeah.
There you go. Come
Yeah, so
Yeah.
on, bro.
I don't. Yeah, I don't play with that. My
Y'all gotta
whole
drop some flames on that, bro. That was
my
dope.
whole
Yeah.
my whole mentality on self-worth, man, is so that's why people when people don't grasp what I'm saying about forget humble is because I don't believe they've been in enough white spaces. And I
Mm,
hold on to that so tight because um I got essays over it, bro. I'm putting together an essay book with my brother that I went to basic training with. Shout out to Kai Phoenix. But I have essays over forget humble because humble, even if you use people be like, oh, well, you use it in different contexts, blah, blah, blah. Take it for what Webster
it's
says.
it's limiting though.
It's limiting. It's limiting. It's to look at yourself in a low stature. Just take it blanket
Right.
for what Webster says. Then
Mhm.
let's apply it on how white America applies it to black people, from
Mm,
athletes, from in the corporate boardroom, for everything that stands for a black person walking into a white space, understanding your value. We're fly, we can speak well, we know our shit. So, but they want us to humble ourselves because they're afraid of us. We're
right.
intimidating to them. So, one thing that I experienced in corporate America was I would walk into these spaces and try to dim my light. So that's why I'm so adamant now about not being humble. Now,
Right.
yes, I understand honorable. I understand grace. If you know me, you know I'm not a super huge ego guy. That's not
Right.
me. But at the same time, I'll tell you, don't be humble, because
Right.
humble doesn't mean that you have not being humble does not equate to not having a
You can have
grace.
humility. You can have
You can, yeah,
humility. Right.
but
Absolutely.
being humble, walking in these spaces and having imposter syndrome. We don't talk about
Woo.
black people in these white
Mhm.
Yeah.
spaces with imposter syndrome as much as we need to.
Absolutely.
So I'm so adamant about humble is because I've been in these white spaces all my life.
Right.
God has blessed me with the ability to always have decent jobs. And when
Right.
you in a decent job in Oklahoma, you in white spaces.
Right up.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm very adamant. I'm very passionate about forget humble because of the whole mantra behind it. And it's not a blanket statement. If you ask me about it, oh, we can have a full ass conversation, and I can bring up everything from literature to a political standpoint to society demands,
Mhm.
from religious aspects. Whatever you want to talk about when it comes about humble, we can talk about it.
Right.
So when I say it, I'm
Yeah.
not saying it in a blanket, ignorant way. If you know me, you know what kind of person I am. So you know I have humility, you know I have grace, but at the same time, I'm not going to dim my light, and I damn sure not going to teach my kids to dim their light.
Yeah. It's a
Um,
sense of
That's
oppression.
that,
It's almost like watering down the greatest aspect of your authority
yeah.
at
And
the
I've done it before,
value.
and I've
Yeah.
done it
Needs of
before,
everybody
and
else.
that's why
Right.
I'm so
Absolutely.
adamant about it. I've been in these white spaces,
yeah.
Hmm.
and I've dimmed my light, and I've seen how it makes me feel. I see
Right.
how even my white counterparts in supervisors, they even ask me, oh well, you're doing well here, Courtney, but it seems like you lack confidence. Lack
You what?
confidence.
Who said that?
That's not me. But it was becoming me because I was in these spaces
Oh yeah.
I
where
got you.
where where I was dimming my light because I was afraid to make
Right.
other people in the room uncomfortable. I was afraid of making other people in the room uncomfortable. So I
Yeah.
was
And like
diminishing my own
Yeah.
light. Now,
And Dominique
exactly, and
said,
like hearing that, taking that to our conversation when we talk about, when we talk about building our children and especially daughters, we're talking about that's our experience and your experience as a black man. We already know that the black woman has it so many levels tougher when it comes to
absolutely.
surviving and trying to thrive in those spaces. So when we
yeah,
talk about our kids, especially the young ones, how do we take that to them in that space? Because I can tell you, for me, what that makes me think about is when we talk about relationships, we talk about the space of womanhood and
Right.
submission. That's exactly what it look. That's
yeah,
Oh, that's a
submission does
good
not
point,
mean
bro. That's a good
submission doesn't
point.
necessarily mean that you have
yeah.
Ooh,
to dim yourself for someone else. That's not it. And so
that's
when
a
we
great
try to
point.
teach our daughters at a young age, we want them to understand that you don't have to dim your light to be able to be in a group, be yourself, and
yeah.
enjoy who you are first.
Now,
Man,
now that's going to be
unapologetically. Yeah.
that's going to be a
Absolutely.
that's going to be an interesting conversation when I have that conversation with my girls, because this is my mentality over that. Every man, and this is my own quote. Every man loves a diva until he finds out she don't know how to turn that shit off.
Mm.
So
Hmm.
so my mentality around that is I would not have even sought out my wife if she wasn't strong on her own.
Man,
Hmm.
facts.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
even so it because I love my mother and the matriarchs in my family. Shout out to all my aunts and my older cousins that I've always looked up to. Shout out to Big Mama, may she rest in
Right.
peace. But all of them are strong women. I wouldn't have sought out my wife if she
Right.
wasn't strong independently.
Yeah.
But then when you become a union as a man, you want to be a man. So I'm very team oriented in my marriage. So I asked my wife her opinion, different things like that. But at the end of the day, you want to feel like a man,
Right.
and 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 that's one thing that is going to be tricky for me to teach my girls too, because I want you to be strong. I want you to
Right.
be independent, but at the same time, I want you to understand how to be a partner
Right.
in your
Hmm.
relationships
Right.
so you won't scare off your man, because we all know this. We don't like to talk about it a lot, but if you make a man feel like he's not needed, if you are this super independent woman,
Right.
which I believe too many black women are teaching our young black women,
Right.
you super independent, you're gonna scare that black man off because now you're telling him you don't need him. Now, yeah. You don't need no man. You don't need a man. I understand. I understand. I'm probably gonna teach elements of that to my daughter. You don't need a man to feel, but you're missing a part of it.
Right.
You don't need a man to feel happy. You don't need a man to feel accomplished. You don't
Right.
need a man to do such and such. But when it comes to being a partner in a
Absolutely.
marriage, you need to understand that's a partnership.
Hey, baby.
And you
Right.
shouldn't
Hi,
walk
honey.
around like you're holding
Right.
it all
Okay.
together in
Boy,
your
y'all
home.
girls is on it today.
Hi, honey.
Yeah, I think
You
it's
okay?
twofold, bro. I think it's
You can say
we got
hi.
to be able to evaluate manhood, but not value manhood based on the way we exercise our dominance on another
Mm,
being. Because
right,
a lot of
Yes.
men feel insecure unless they can get a woman to submit, and that's not true authority. That's not leadership based on how you can govern another being, right?
right,
Plus, it's like I only feel esteemed on suppressing your light, right?
right,
That
right,
don't
Yeah.
create union,
right,
bro. And I
right.
think that's like a big expectation that's been created around manhood, right? I think
Right.
secondly,
Yeah.
allowing us to be able to create an atmosphere where it's thriving,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, like I tell my daughters that all the time. I want you to be able to exercise your own sense of authority in whatever capacity that looks like, because you have brilliance in you, like
Sure.
genius
Sure.
is in you, right? Also, but then again, y'all good?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
good. Go ahead.
Okay, cool, cool.
Have a good night.
This is life, bro.
Dope.
This is
Yeah,
life,
this
right?
is it is. So y'all get to see the real, like this
Yes,
is
sir.
real girl dad life.
25.
And to be honest, man, like this is not staged. I promise you.
Yeah,
This
at
is
all. I'm
this is
glad
what
this
it's
showed up.
like, man.
And this didn't
This
happen the past few weeks either, bro. So this is
it
crazy.
didn't.
This happened today.
It didn't happen.
They get to
It
see the
didn't. And
real
you.
life. But I think one more
This
other
is.
thing. I
Go
tell
ahead.
my
Go ahead.
daughters also, it's beautiful, but it makes us be really intentional
Go
about having trustworthy virtues so they can understand the value of having a man that can complement the attributes that you
Yeah,
have. Like me and my
yeah,
Compliment.
wife
Yes.
are form two different, like almost polar opposites in a lot of ways. Like I'm way
yeah.
more emotional. I get really deeply involved. They know if they come to me with a problem, baby, we're gonna talk about it on an intuitive, way beyond surface level. And I love that about
Yeah,
my wife because she's a thinker, right? And
yeah.
so me and my wife are both thinkers, and she's taught me to be that way because she's like, look, we're not raising dummies over here, right? We're not raising victims. We're not doing any of that, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want our children to be product of people that create freedom in whatever capacity it looks like
Okay.
in their lives. Because I'm like, baby, at the end of the day, life is very short.
Back on.
So I want to make sure I instill everything that's in you for whatever's gonna make you equip you for your journey. That's dope.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So oh, another thing to piggyback on responding back to Elijah. I'm very intentional with the imagery, the reinforcement of the imagery. So
absolutely.
when it comes to dolls, when it comes to cartoons, when it comes to who they believe is superheroes, I always give them the black superheroes. I always pick out black dolls and black nurses.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm thinking in my head is they're going to get that diversity out in the world.
Right.
They're going to see white everything
Yeah.
Yep.
forever. They're never going to get away from whiteness. So matter of fact, I had a battle buddy one time in the Army ask me, Cordney, why you always posting about black excellence? And he got a smart mouth, but I got love for him. But he got a smart mouth. He said, what if you went to my post and you saw me posting white excellence, hashtag white excellence? I said, bro, I grew up watching white excellence. I was only
Right.
taught white
Absolutely.
excellence in history classes. I see white excellence all the time.
All day,
You're
every day.
right.
It's everywhere. So so me picking out black excellence is because these are particular things that we don't see on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
It's not put in our face that Elijah's 14-year-old daughter is about to graduate college. Those type of things are
Fire.
not put in our face continuously, but we see
Yeah.
white everything
Yeah.
constantly.
Mhm.
So I'm very intentional with making sure that I get dolls that look like my daughters, that are dark skinned, that are brown skinned. I let them know that black people look different. And
I think it's starting to change though. We have what, three black beauty pageants. There was one Miss America,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Yeah, very
But
rare.
what kind of notoriety did we get on that though? Like how like where did you see that at? Did you see it plastered everywhere? Did you see it in your face continuously? Like right now,
Nah, of course not.
You can Google the most beautiful woman in America. I bet you, I bet
You
you
know
it's a
what that?
white woman that pops up.
But you know who owns a majority of the media companies as well. You know, but we ain't gonna
Exactly.
talk
And
about the system though. That's just the system.
but that's reinforced engineering.
Absolutely.
So we have to counteract that reinforced engineering that they're going to continuously get.
Hmm.
Look at the Disney Channel. Look at Netflix. Everything about most of the time. I mean, Disney's doing pretty decent these days. Disney, Netflix, bringing in more multicultural different things. But for
Yeah.
the most part, they're going to get the image of beauty does not look like them.
Right.
Mhm.
So
Right.
it's my responsibility, it's my wife's responsibility to make sure they understand they're beautiful
Absolutely.
continuously.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Continuously.
dope, bro. You know what? That makes you
absolutely.
really value fatherhood even more. Because
Yeah.
that in itself, I always let them know, like the reality that you create in your life, the success that you have in your life always comes down to the way you perceive yourself, right? And
Yeah.
especially having a lot of people that's grown and they're insecure, they don't believe in themselves, or they're bound by
Hmm.
self-doubt. And we perpetuate this victimization where people point the fingers at everybody else. I'm really, really attentive with talking to my daughters about that kind of stuff and not blaming.
Yeah.
All right, Elijah says, does raising daughters make you regret some of the ways you treated women in your past wild year? No, because we've never treated women wrong. We've always been perfect specimen when it comes to treating women right.
Hey, bro. Hey, let me tell you what I told some of my students. So me being adjunct college professor, a director within higher education, I don't look at these students as kids. So Elijah, to answer your question, um, I I don't use this particular language with my daughters yet, but when I talk to these grown ass young women in college, I tell them, "Hey man, I was a fuck boy."
Straight up. On God.
Like I was a fuck boy. Like I was doing, I would treat, I was the one that would cook breakfast for you, dick you down, cook dinner for you, and then at the end of it tell you, oh, we're just kicking it.
Yeah.
So so I would treat you like we're in a relationship. I would treat you good and then tell you, I mean, we're just kicking it. I don't understand why you're confused about us
Commitment
just
without
kicking
relations.
it. Exactly. So so my whole mentality on that is I know I was grimy. I know but see, that's gonna help me give them the game. Because
Right.
I wasn't one of them squares that wasn't getting females. I was getting women. Excuse me about the females. That's that military. I was getting women. I had I did very well in that department.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna utilize that game that I know, and I'm gonna put my kids on it. I'm gonna put my daughters on it to make sure that they don't let no other young fuck boy do the things I was doing
Right.
to women.
Right.
Because I'm very happy with the wife that I ended up with, but I know I tricked off some good women too. I
Man.
know I did.
You know,
I'm gonna
So
tell you what's crazy too. The crazy thing about it, I used to be like, man, I'm a hypocrite, right? We go out and do all this dirt, but if somebody did that to your mama, game for
mhm.
it's a wrap.
yeah, bruh.
It's a
Yeah,
wrap. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
yeah.
You know, it's one of those things where like, yeah, I don't think anybody could really honestly say that the person they used to be or the experiences that the decisions they made in their youth that they can stand by all of that in the space that we are. And I think it's a big
Man.
question. I mean, it's a big deal to really come to terms with that and decide who you're going to be before you become a parent. Because if you
Mhm.
ask me if I feel bad about those things, I would if I hadn't come to terms with it and understood that, you know what, I was out there doing some messed up stuff
Yeah,
and looked to be a better person before getting into that space.
yeah.
Right.
Let me
And
tell you what I did. My
yeah.
wife was pissed off about this, right? So I believe in karma. I'm not deep into manifestations and universe like my brother D Cole here, but I believe that I believe the universe will come back on that ass.
Facts.
So
Hmm.
so what I did was before I got married, I reached out to a lot of the women that I thought I did wrong, and I didn't have their numbers, so I DM'd them in Facebook, and I apologized, right?
Hmm.
Then I went to my fiance, and I told Sherelle, hey man, this is what I did. I felt bad about how I did them. So I went and apologized. I thought I was doing some admirable shit.
Hmm.
I thought I was clearing that energy and all of
Yeah.
that going into my marriage. Man, my wife was pissed.
Like, bump them. Don't have them
Hey,
thinking they got a chance to
exactly.
come back and leave no door open.
Donnell, I wasn't thinking like that. I wasn't thinking like that. I
Yeah.
literally was thinking, I'm trying to clear the air. I'm trying to go into this marriage with nothing
Right.
but positive vibes, right? My wife looked at it just like what you said.
Yep.
She said, nah, don't do no shit like that. They're gonna think that you trying to get back on them and blah, blah, blah.
Facts.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking like that. I was
Yeah.
really honestly trying to clear my bad karma. I didn't want that shit
Yeah.
coming back on
See,
me.
Yeah.
that in itself tells you just the dynamics of how men think and women think. That in
Yeah.
itself, like truly in our heart, we believe we're doing the right thing, right? But on the
Yeah.
outside, it's a whole nother perception,
Yeah.
bro. We got a lot of questions. Hey, bro, we appreciate y'all in the comments, man. Y'all are going hard today. This is
Yeah.
dope, man. Dominic, let me see. I don't think we can truly be held accountable for some of the decisions that we made. I believe we make a lot of decisions unconsciously to the point that where we've been raised, we don't recognize the patterns that govern the way we behave with other people, let alone we don't recognize how we even interact in relationships, right? We think it's just like sex. A lot of us think we just have all the tools, right? Until you meet
Yeah.
somebody and you like, oh, damn, this
Yeah.
works in layers and lessons and
Yeah.
growth and progression and evolution. Before you know it, you like, damn, and then in relationships, you take in new natures all the time. So you got to relearn a
Yeah.
lot of things, right?
Yeah.
So that can be unrealistic. Let me see. KG going hard. Dang, dude, I don't even know where to start, y'all. Um, let me see. I want to make sure I'm hearing you guys out. Good one. Our biggest fear is that we are inadequate. Let me see. For me, I used to be a big time player back in the day. Once I gained knowledge of self, is when I felt better about how I used to treat women. When I had daughters, I was conscious that there are other men out there that are
Yeah.
like me and made me want to teach them their worth and power. I did this for my sisters and cousins. That's good, Jay. Dominique, for the most part, my mother always taught me to treat a girl as they would someone want to treat my mom. I think for me, bro, that's very important in my relationships with my daughters because I think a lot of us grow up in single parent households. And for some people, they may not work well in relationships, but I always wanted to make sure I gave my daughter something that I didn't experience growing up. I
Yeah.
also think about, man, what kind of person would I have become if my dad or my mom could experience love, like true love, like agape love, right? That
That's what
unwavering kind of love, bro. I
that's
wonder.
what
Yeah.
I had to accept about my mother. She basically is the middle of 10. She's the middle child.
Hmm.
And once the first half kind of grew up and left the house, then she becomes from the middle child to now she's the oldest.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So when it came to responsibility, when it came to a lot of heavy burdens on top of her, and my grandmother always worked multiple jobs and stuff. So, my mom had to really step it up and be that person, and raise the rest of the kids in the household. And I took that for granted because I didn't understand what type of pain she might have felt because my grandmother wasn't. I mean, she was to me, but grandkids is a little different.
Yeah. That's a whole different
But
vibe.
that's
Yeah.
that's a whole different ball game. But I don't think that she was as loving to my mom. I don't think that she was as
Hmm.
understanding. I don't think that they maybe really had those one-on-ones and such like that. So at the end of the day, it's hard to give your kids something you never had. And that's one thing that I always kind of had resentment about. And I didn't understand I had resentment
Hmm.
about that, because I felt like I was kind of hard layered, had that shell up. I'm
Right.
very much like my mom. I am my mother's son. But at the same time, I don't believe we didn't have a close relationship either
Mm.
because both of us are kind of loners, kind of independent.
Right.
Both of us have this hard shell exterior up. And so I'm very much like my mom. So I wasn't able, to see that lack of emotional availability I didn't have until I started recognizing why my mother didn't have it. And as an adult, they say as an adult you recognize the sins of your parents.
Right.
Yeah.
But I start understanding why my mother was the way. And kind of you as an adult, you kind of take off, you look at your parent without the cape. I always looked at my mom as a
Man,
superhero.
that's good.
I always looked at my mom as a superhero, man. Always had 2 to 3 jobs. I wouldn't say I was spoiled because I knew how to do everything by the time I was 8. My mother said, "Your uncles are spoiled and they don't know how to do shit. You are gonna know how to do everything." So I'm the domesticated one in my marriage. I am very domesticated when it comes to cooking and cleaning and all that because my mother made me like that, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so my
Yeah.
aunties, they taught me how to dress and where I was wearing cologne at 5, bro. But my mom,
I believe that.
but my
A
mom,
little
my
kid, they be like,
mom,
I got that split. I got that split.
my mom domesticated me. Hey, no, shout out to Fahrenheit and Eternity. And what was I wearing back then?
Hey,
What was
no,
I
brew.
wearing?
What was it cologne back in the day? Was it brew in the little green bottle?
I wasn't messing with the brute, but it was Fahrenheit. It was the very first Chrome. It was I had the polo blue label.
Bruh, see, you've been
Like,
on the upper echelon since straight out the
hey, bro.
womb. Like, bruh,
And
spray.
my aunties were
Out the
very
womb.
particular. My aunties molded me into like being fly and fresh. But my mom, she wanted to make sure I was domesticated, and she was about them grades. So when you have all those matriarchs with their hands on you, you're gonna come out a certain way. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Sauce.
but no, I was awakened by that. I started looking at my mom without the cape and understand she's a human, and the
Yeah.
things that she went through affected how she loves me and how she shows love for me. And I think now that she's older with grandkids, she loves me differently.
Yeah.
She hugs me more. She tells me she loves me more. I see
Yeah.
my mother doing that. I see the evolution of my mom when it comes to emotional availability.
Yeah, that
You
compassion
know,
that you had brought her some healing.
Bro, let me say this. If for anybody who's watching this now live, who's watching this recording, it if you don't take anything from this situation, and I
Man.
mean, it doesn't matter if you're a parent, it doesn't matter if you are a girl dad or if you got boys, male, female, woman, man, it doesn't matter. But one thing that I want you to catch from what he just said, and this is that important that I'm shutting everything down, is that we have to be able to come to terms and find some peace in the relationships in our own
Mhm.
childhood so that we can show up for our children better.
yes,
Because
sir.
if we can't see our parents as people who have had their own struggles, who have had their own experiences, who are still oftentimes dealing with their own hurt and pain, and we're
Right.
not able to give them grace as a child, you can best believe that you're going to pass on that
Facts.
weight
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
to your
You know the thing
children
that's crazy?
because yeah,
The thing that's crazy too is we expect something from people that don't have the emotional capacity to give.
That
Right?
part.
My father
yes,
grew up in abusive. His mom, mom, grandma, not to speak that bad on her name, but she was an alcoholic, severe alcoholic. So he had to raise himself. So being able to build a relationship and be emotionally available, he didn't know how to because the only thing he knew was survival. You know what I'm saying? Same
Yeah.
thing as my mom. She'd go out, she'd kick it, because she was an athlete and she'd do certain things, but there was only so much she can give because anything beyond that level of consciousness, she did not have the capacity because she didn't even
mm,
go through a healing journey herself. And sometimes we expect the best, but without that proper healing, your life can only go so far. But
Yeah.
it's beautiful that through Mac, he was able to bring some healing to his mother, which
Yeah.
allowed him to be an even greater vessel for his children.
absolutely.
And
That's
How do
why
you
soul
pass that
journeys.
on?
That's why the soul journey in universe and metaphysics is important.
yes, sir. Hey, you know what? And hey, man, you got me. You got me on that, bro. I'll tell you. I tell you why you got me on that because I wasn't trying to hear no astrology stuff. I wasn't trying to hear none of that because the people that I was seeing doing it and seeing talking about it, I call myself. I don't know. I don't know if I can say I coined it, but I call myself an execution god.
I believe that.
I'm all about project management. I'm all about deadlines. I'm all about coming up with an idea and executing. If I tell you I'm gonna do something, 98% of the time, I'm gonna do that shit. I'm gonna make it happen. The issue that I have with people who are deeply into astrology and stuff, from what I've seen, they're the type of people who don't do shit.
Absolutely.
Except for you. Except for you, bro. You have been that person that speaks that, and then I see you actually doing things. You are an executor as well. You are execution god too. So I really appreciate you even bringing that into my life, because when I hear people talk about it before I met you, I'm like, all right, astrology. Here go one of these niggas. like okay, all right. You know, like they didn't show me that they're actually using those things, even self-mastery.
Yeah.
I had one of my mentors tell me, you know, you practice self-mastery like you are an example of self-mastery. I didn't know that. I just knew that I execute. I know that if I have goals, I know how to meet them. And, you know, I know how to, and then I've always had a strong sense of self-confidence in myself. So I didn't know I was practicing self-mastery or whatever is termed,
Yeah, that's it.
you know. But then when I come around people who preach self-mastery, but they're not mastering their self, they're not even mastering the minimalistic things they have going on in their life, then I'm like, I don't want to hear that shit from you.
You're right.
You know, it's like a broke motherfucker can't tell me shit about financial literacy unless they've been broke and then been rich, then broke and then rich again. But a broke motherfucker cannot tell me nothing about being rich. Like you, I don't want that game from you, you know. And so when people talk about self-mastery, I need you to show me that as being an example, a pillar of it, or it's gonna go. I'm not gonna hear you, bro.
Right. Absolutely.
I'm not listening to you because you haven't showed me the practice.
See, that's how you show your daughters the difference between game and authenticity when it shows up. Right?
Yeah,
bro.
I can't take wishes to the bank. That's not gonna pay the mortgage, bro.
Yeah.
For real. Okay.
So what's up?
We want to keep going?
We here. Unless
right,
anybody's got to tap out.
Elijah got questions. ATL, make sure you tap in if you got any questions too. If there's any women you guys want to bring in because they got questions, because I know a lot of us fathers. KG got a daughter. Nitro, of course, got his daughter. How do you plan on teaching your daughters proper mates? God.
Proper what?
How do you plan on proper mate selection, and what age do you start to introduce the concept? So look, my daughter's dating. My daughter is 16 and she's dating, bro. It was so hard. It was so hard. I'm gonna tell you, I was so hard on her. Because I said, I want you to focus on your education. I want you to focus on working. And it was so much expectation, because I said, I don't want you to have to deal with this. Be young, you know, live your livelihood. And she said, I feel like you go so hard on me because you don't want me to turn out and make some of the mistakes you made, but you don't recognize I don't even have a desire to make those mistakes. And I said, you know what? You're absolutely right. And I had to realize at that point, I was grateful, because I was like, you know what? You are your own individual. You do have your own journey.
Yeah.
Right? Even if you make mistakes, that's beautiful, because I want you to experience growth for yourself, right?
That's huge.
Yeah, it's hard for a lot of fathers to do, to say, I want to relinquish control, because my only job is to equip you to be the best version of yourself, whatever that looks like. It's not easy, right? But I can't stress myself out, and that's unrealistic for me to see that, especially knowing she doesn't desire that, right? So that was beautiful in myself. But let's talk about that, Mac. What are you doing?
So mate selection, and Elijah's gonna put me on the spot because we talked about this. So I'm not deep as Elijah with it, but my mate selection for me, in which I grew up in a house full of women, so I've always heard them tell me what a good man is, what an ain't shit nigga look like, all of that. You know, even you know, I've even seen my cousins and my aunties shun a square that might have been good for them, but they were square. You know, we don't talk about that enough.
Man, we don't.
You know, so to get back to what Elijah asked, I'm not super deep with it. I'm very surface level with it, but I want to show what a real man is supposed to look like. So me showing how to love my wife, me showing how to love them, me taking them to community service when I go do community service, me taking them to my poetry shows, me taking them on set when I'm shooting a movie, me showing them how a man works and how a man loves and how a man apologizes,
Right.
how a man executes and goes about his day. Me showing them that and then reiterating, hey, men don't do this. And so they'll even tell me now, some of it is toxic masculinity. Because they'll tell me like so when they were really young, I would let them put makeup on me sometimes, or I let them, because it just be me and them in the house, I let them put fingernail polish on me and stuff. Now at 6 and 4, they tell me men don't do that, daddy. Men don't wear lipstick, daddy. Like, you know, some of that is toxic masculinity,
Right.
and you know, and we are in a very diverse and different world now. So you know, I open them up to different things, like men can wear pink,
Right.
daddy wears pink, you know, daddy wears purple. It's okay for men to do ballet. It's okay for men
Right.
to do such and such. You know, teaching them things like that. I'm trying to pull them away from the toxic masculinity that I pushed
Right.
into them at a younger age.
That's
But when it
dope.
comes to selections of mates, oh, I'm very adamant about men take care of their family.
Right.
Men work, men provide. That's what men do. This is what daddy does. When daddy goes to work, you see daddy go to work. You see daddy do this around the house. Daddies can also cook and clean. Daddies can also take care of their daughters. You know, daddies iron. You see daddy iron your clothes
Yeah.
every morning.
Yeah.
You know, showing them that that dynamic of what a
Yeah.
daddy can do too. Daddy just don't work and come home and lay on his ass and don't help mommy in the kitchen or whatever. Daddies can
Right.
do all things just like mommies can, because you know they're gonna
Yeah.
get what they're gonna
Absolutely.
get from
Right.
TV.
I like that. I
They're gonna
love
they're
that,
gonna they're
bro.
gonna get what they're gonna get from TV, you know.
Right.
So TV will tell them that fathers don't cook and clean and blah blah blah, you know. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna have a tea party with you as well. But I
Yeah.
can get outside and me and your papa, we're gonna chop down trees too. You know,
Absolutely.
so showing them that dynamic of what a father does, what a man does, but I also am verbal with saying men do this,
Right.
men don't do this. So
Right.
I'm very verbal with that.
I
Yep, I
think you
can't
made a
front. I
good
don't know how
point.
many
Yeah.
times I done stepped in and went to the gym and took off my shoes and my toenails was painted, and I'm like, yeah, forgot I got these. Look, my daughter's a beast at makeup, and every day she's like, "Why don't you let me?" I'm like, "Baby, look, I love you, but I don't know." You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
just ain't got to that point, right? You ain't supposed to be doing my eyebrows. You ain't supposed to have me
yeah,
out
yeah.
looking
And
crazy.
you know, we can
Uh,
show we can show masculinity, um, and being able to show the dynamics of what a man can be, and not you know, I posted I posted a man in a tutu not too long ago.
Absolutely.
mhm.
And you know, it was a lot of mixed feelings about that. But he had pants on underneath.
Right.
He had regular shoes. He had tennis shoes on. I think he had Jordans on. You know, I'm not one, and people ask me about this when it comes to acting. I understand the things that I will not do because I'm a man and I'm an example. So I know it's
Right.
some things I will not do as an actor. Bottom
Absolutely.
line.
Yeah, they don't line with
But
your values.
exactly.
Absolutely.
But at the
That's
same time,
important.
at the
That's
same
We're getting
time,
important.
there.
me raising my kids, I understand my values as well. You won't see daddy in makeup and no dress, but me putting a tutu on with my regular clothes and everything, vibing with my daughter.
Absolutely.
So
I mean,
so
like,
this
if,
this speaks to really how I see the answer to that question, right? And when we talk about values, everything we do in Dynamic, like this is our space that we really
Yeah.
dive into. With at the core of what we do is your values dictate your reactions, your actions, and your thoughts about everything that you encounter in life,
Let's
whether you
go,
have
D.
defined them or not.
yeah,
So when we look at it, when I think about how I'm going to prepare my daughter for choosing a mate, and she's 6. So honestly, when I think about when I'm preparing my daughter for how she chooses a friend, in school. It's
Man.
going to be based on her understanding her values. And the best way I can do that is share what my values are. And for me, like an example for people who don't quite know me, I talk about one of my main values is freedom.
Right.
One of my top
Absolutely.
3 main values is freedom. So for her, I want her to experience what it feels like to have the freedom to decide how she shows up. And at 6, if that means she would rather choose the green skates than the pink skates, who am I to tell her not to? If that
Right.
means for her having the freedom to explore how loud she can roar versus
Yeah.
needing her to be in that space of, oh, the tea party is what you do, baby. The tea party.
Yeah.
No, give
Yeah.
our kids the freedom to explore who they want to be without the
Right.
judgment and with as
Right.
Right.
little push towards who we need them to be as possible. And I think
Right.
when you empower your daughters to be able to understand what freedom means in a world that's going to continually try to put them in a box, then choosing a mate is
Man.
literally them choosing a mate, just like they chose anything else in their life based on who they are,
Man. That's a
what
good
they need, and what
point.
they want.
That's a
Yeah.
great point.
And then when you have already reinforced that strength in them and their self-worth, and they like within their values, I think their mate selection is gonna be top tier because of that, because they understand that one, they already had a father figure that showed them what a man is supposed to do, what a man is supposed to look like when it comes to virtue, and then they already have their own values.
Mhm.
I believe they're gonna choose a good mate
Right.
within that.
That's dope.
Yeah, when they know themselves.
Mhm.
That's why choosing a good mate is important too, Lord. Because having the right mate in your life makes a world of difference. That's why I'm grateful for my wife. She is amazing, fam.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Amazing. For
I
real,
man,
makes it easy.
I of course everything ain't perfect, but
Yeah.
when I think about some of my other brothers and the things they got to go through with their wives, bruh.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Yeah,
thank God.
For real.
Thank
it's
God. Like,
tough.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
But I
It's a
think that makes a
marathon.
big difference, though. And you made a point when we talk about how important it is for us to find ourselves as people first, but as men, how important it is for us to understand ourselves and
yeah,
understand what our values are. Then you make decisions about who you have in your life,
Mm,
right?
that's
And
yeah.
that's that's a space that I know a big part of this movement for us,
Right.
modern manhood, the man cave, the master classes, the meetups, all of that is about helping ourselves and helping men in our community to really see ourselves in the most clear reflection so that we can take that person from where he is today to who he wants to be in the future. And then you find yourself making decisions that serve you, that serve your family, and serve your
Right.
community better.
Facts.
And Cordney, obviously, man, you this is something that we've seen in you. We see your work, we see your deeds, we see your life and the way you live your life. And we honor that, man. So thank you for
Yeah.
doing this with
Facts.
us.
appreciate it. I
Straight up.
appreciate it, man. I
Man, you
appreciate it.
know
I
what's
appreciate
crazy?
it.
And we're gonna wrap this up because I got some meetings to do, and I'm pretty sure you guys got some stuff going on too. So I think
Yeah,
that's the beauty of what we got. In case you guys don't know, Dr. Damon, me and Dr. Damon have created an actual master class. You know what's crazy? In that master class, it teaches people how to find their values. There's people that's in relationship that don't know what they value. So you just settle for anything. There's people that's doing relation, that's going to work, that's not something they truly value.
yeah,
Even in your parenting, you have to understand that because there's a limitation on what you can give if you haven't come to an understanding of that within yourself too. So I think that's
listen,
very important, man, because it is very impactful in everything you do. In everything you do. If you don't know
Oh
that,
yeah.
that's why people have such a hard time executing.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
You know what I'm
man.
yeah.
saying?
So
How you gonna how you
you're
Yeah.
gonna
right.
yeah, how you gonna know what to give the world if you don't know who you are? You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? A result
Listen,
of who you
Ooh.
are allows you to know what you give to the world, right? And this is the
Yes,
thing about
sir.
it. That's why my man said to know thyself. To know thyself is so important. But it does
Yeah.
come down to your values. So for you guys that haven't done the master class, if you sign up for the master class, you will know
let me
that.
tell you.
Look, I got the playbook right
This
there.
listen, it's on my desk. This
You
is
know
the
what I'm
playbook.
saying? It's
This is the
phenomenal,
playbook,
man.
right? Fellas,
Yeah.
Right.
the master class is an experience and it's virtual and it's coming live. I'm excited about it. While we're talking about what's coming up next as we wrap up, the masterclass is an experience where we all sit down with the playbook, right? Because the idea is that you can walk away from this 2-hour experience that is exhilarating, that is fun actually, but it's also challenging in a way that brings you to a space where you walk away with tools, with skills, with an
Real.
understanding of yourself, but also of how you're showing up in the world so that you can be your best self and literally be a better man after that experience. And so when Donnell talks about, when we talk about masterclass, this is something that a couple of guys have jumped in with us and they've had this experience. And I hope that they're sharing out there what's happening with this, because we're bringing this to the table. We're planning on doing another virtual masterclass here in December. So be on the lookout. Let us know if you need the info with that. But we're also going to be jumping in to do some live masterclass experiences, which I'm telling you, is like something you've never seen before. We're doing that coming early 2022. We're excited about this. We see the space for this. We see, brothers like Cordney who are showing us what it really means
Yes.
to level up in that space. So I'm excited about it, and we'll be looking forward to that some more. Of course, Donnell, tell us about the next meetup we got coming up.
Okay, hold on. First of all, I'm just give Courtney his flowers. Then we're gonna talk about
Yo,
this meetup. All right. So,
go for it.
Courtney, first of all, bro, thank you for always showing up as such a vibrant light in the lives of all the people that you serve.
Yeah.
Mentorship, bro. We talk about generational curses, but my man shows up as a vaccine, so to speak, to be a healing to all those that he experienced. So, bro, I want to say I love you. I honor you for that. My brother has invited me to a lot of areas, a lot of different projects, and I see how he shows up. And sometimes I seen this on Colin's thing, Colin Kaepernick yesterday, and I said we take our revolutionists for granted.
Hmm.
We take them for granted, right? You know what I'm saying? It's not too often that we see people like a Marcus Garvey or a Martin Luther King Jr. or a Malcolm X or a Frederick Douglass, right? Extraordinary black heroes of our time who make it a point to show up every single day. And it's not easy, but my man is disciplined. And I value that because I know you are a world changer, bro. So I want to make sure that I speak this to you. I've seen him
Yeah.
in areas where he literally said, you know what, I got to take on this new aspect of who I am. It's uncomfortable, but I'm willing. I've seen my man perform when he's sick, when he's went to the doctor, and the doctor's literally saying, I don't know how you even doing this because in your health, you should not be doing this, right?
Yeah.
So he has a different level of mental tenacity that most people are unaware of, right? He just does it naturally with his poetry, with his corporations. He's also talked to me about leveling up on my business with branding. So he's not just a person that just goes out for himself, but he also is willing to teach it. And you guys know that, especially in the system we have set up, they don't want to give away tools
Mm.
and resources because they know the more ammunition you give to other people, the more you have the capacity to create freedom, which will prevent you from being at the bottom. And I
Preach.
love that about
Yeah.
Courtney.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it about him. All right. So thank you, bro, so much for sharing Modern Manhood, the platform with us. All right.
Appreciate it.
I know you guys have found tremendous value on everything he's brought. So we just want to salute you, bro. All right.
Absolutely.
So now,
Appreciate y'all.
meet up, bro. My man. Oh, matter of fact, you came to the last meetup. What did you think about it?
Oh man, I loved it, man, because like I always say, we don't have enough spaces for black men to feel vulnerable. So, so once in any of those spaces too, even in mentorship, you see young black men come in and they're a little they're a little hesitant. They're a little hesitant to open up. They're a little resistant at first. They see somebody they respect, like a Glenn, open up
Yeah,
and tell his
Glenn.
story. Then it opened up for other men to be like, I feel a little more comfortable opening up and telling my story. So now it's a great space. Black men were kind of like boiling pots. We like to keep that pot over
Mm.
us and we be just boiling up. And we all know what that shit gonna look like. It's gonna blow up. It's gonna spill over. And a lot of times
Yeah.
that's why we end up walking around angry or disconnected or whatever
Man.
have you, because we're boiling. We're boiling with nobody else to get a release from. So that
Man.
opportunity to vent and to eat good food and to just chop it up, we don't, a lot of us don't have those opportunities come around too often. So any space like that has always been super dope to me, man. Y'all doing great things with it, man. I'll definitely
Appreciate
be at
that.
the next one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate
So the
that.
next meeting is November 29th. It's the last Monday of the month. I'm excited. We have, what is the company called? They got the cigars. They
Oh,
show
Oh,
y'all.
Fat
yeah,
Line
Fat Lion
Cigars.
Cigars, man.
Yeah, so Fat Line
Yeah.
Cigars is coming. Black owned, woman black owned
Yeah.
business that shows you how to pair cigars with liqueur. I can't drink because I'm in this personal fitness challenge for the next 75 days. However, it's
Woo.
after the holidays, and you know, guys, the holidays can take a lot out of us. So this is going to be a great time for us to come together. I put 6:30 to 9 because guys haven't wanted to leave at 9 o'clock. They just don't want to leave, right? So I got it at 6:30 to 9. So those who want to show up early so we can get started. We won't have a guest speaker because I want us to have more time of intimacy this time and build. But we do have questions that is plastered. So shout out to everybody that's contributed to the poll because we do have I think our topic for this month is going to be family life, family business life balance, balancing. I think that balance may be a myth, but we're going to discuss that, right?
Right. Right.
What I think you were telling them is they can go on to manhoodmasterclass.com to go and register, right?
Yes, I had to make sure I got it right because Dr. Davis was like, bro, if you don't get this right, Manhood Masterclass, not Manhood, manhoodmasterclass.com. And you can register. Tickets are $15, but register. There's no age restriction. As my man E, he brought his daughter or his son last week. So bring your sons, man. We want this to
Yep.
be a great opportunity to build manhood, you guys. This is what this is about. We're on a mission to help each other become the best version of self. All right. So we can't just complain unless we take an action. This is what we're about. And you've heard it from the God of execution, the execution guide. That would be a great
Right.
book, by the way.
Absolutely.
Right.
I'm gonna let
Courtney,
it be.
tell us what you got coming up, man. Tell us what you
Yeah.
got coming up, so we can keep
Man,
touching.
so
The
I had
equinox.
to literally stop and just thank God the other day, man, because I had so many opportunities, so many yeses come my way, man. I just had to stop
Yes.
and praise God, bro. Like I didn't really expect acting to go this well. I've been, yeah. So For the Love of Money, if you're not tracking, For the Love of Money, it'll be dropping on the 24th. I
Let's
get
go.
my little 0.5 second extra in there, but that'll be in theaters. Coming up, I'm constantly doing stuff with Notice Studios. If you don't know, I gotta get that December date, but it's a director's cut of Black Wall Street Burning. It's coming back out,
Awesome.
and they're gonna have a black carpet affair for that. Get your tickets. That'll be dope. When it comes to me personally, November 19th, autumn equinox. It is a
Yeah.
celebration of our reemergence of Black Renaissance, man. People say it's nothing to do here in Oklahoma, but you're just not paying attention enough, man. We have mad dope hip hop artists, dope vocalists. It's always cracking at ice. We have different venues every single day. It's cracking at ice. You know what I'm saying? So it's so many different things to do around the city where Black people are displaying their talents. And I got this opportunity by my homeboy CL McCoy. Shout out to CL McCoy. And I got this opportunity to have this venue for free. Then shout out to Jay Wig. He has a grant that he offered me kind of through A5A, but it's Noops all day. But he
game banging,
yeah. Hey man, he hooked me up with a grant that's going to help me take care of the different fees that I have to put on this event. But get your tickets today. It's on Eventbrite. Mac Woods presents Autumn Equinox, November 19th, and we're gonna have Karis Cooks is catering, but we're also gonna have different food trucks on the outside. It's gonna be Cash Card Bar, Fat Lion Cigar is gonna be set up on the inside. We're gonna have videographers, photographers.
Oh.
We're gonna have 13 different performers. Now I'm the main feature for the poetry, but we got rappers, we got vocalists, we got live band, we got Trap Soul and Navy gonna be up in there. We got Miss Devin Lewis, we got Cordney Lachelle, Glenjamin gonna be spitting, Sharita Renee gonna be spitting, Bleak gonna be spitting. But then when it comes to, we got Thomas Who, we got Original Flow, man, it's gonna be fire, man. So
what's that date again? When do I need to fly in?
No, November 19th, man. It's gonna be dope.
Awesome.
It's gonna be dope.
Yeah, bro.
It's not gonna be just my whole mentality around poetry events is that you should mix it up. Like poetry
Yeah.
the whole time is cool, but I love live music.
Yeah.
So bringing in live music with hip hop and vocalists and R&B. Got my frat Jalo. He gonna be in the house. He gonna be doing his thing. So it's just gonna be
That's
dynamic.
dope,
It's
bro.
gonna be a host of black talent all night.
That's dope.
Love it. Love it, man.
Woo!
This is dope. I'm thank you, bro. Any parting
Yeah.
words? Any parting words out there?
You want to leave anything before I wrap up, Mac?
Well, yeah. So
You didn't
you
want
know,
to do a
like this,
poem?
I mean, like this whole thing. You know, a girl dad, a girl dad. I am, and you, my girls, both give me life like the sun. A dynamic vitamin D duo, dauntless of love, daring hope, audacious, decorous faith, deciphering heaven in your face. And fireflies glowing like they know who you are. A little bit of me dies, coloring the earth when you set. Houston can't find a solvent till you rise while they try to keep you hidden, minor eclipses of your image. Was deemed to be conspiracy theories. The stars on your skirt echoes the essence that I howl up to. I'll leave a flag of fatherhood from my voyage. Farther than miles of galaxies, fully furnished from times the time before and after my reality defined your mother. Earth that formed my two reasons to live. Back to when God finger painted the whole system in line to divulge a world that don't want to see your beauty or utilize tainted tangible telescopes of your truth. Because our royalty, a time capsule still interlocked and black folk run from keys that fit. The doctor recommended skin to skin, and from pain, I've been holding you longer, but they didn't warn me. They didn't warn me of not being able to protect you, my insecurity, because I don't know nothing of being a good father. I didn't grow up like that. I mean, astronaut. What I do when the shuttle breaks apart, the ground underneath me collapsing while meteors of your worst nightmare floods on you, and it decides, I, your protector, will lose to two facetious foes I never had the fortitude to defeat in the first place. That's life and space. But I have two full moons. And people keep asking me about a sunrise. I'm not worried about the sun because I have you, because I dreamt of both of you. Even when you're a little nervous, even if you don't know, it will pinch a little bit. Remember, you were beautiful before the world said you were. You were smart before a classroom admired your intelligence. You were funny before your friends laughed at any of your jokes. You were loved before a man spoke those three words. My priceless pieces of power, pungent of prominent paramounts that own the middle passage of my chest, pumping purpose and progress. I see it all in your face. All of my daddy to daughters could never be finished because true love is endless. Tightly perfected from God's sharp details, fitting firmly between finger and thumb, gripping cherished moments manifested in your jungle eyes that I could lose myself in for days. One of the greatest things about daughters is how they adored you when they were little, rushed into your arms with uncontrollable excitement, demanding your attention for every bit of everything. See, I pray those memories will help me through less joyous times. When your esteem is replaced by embarrassment or annoyance, and yet I will love you every day of my life, hoping to be valued once again. But realizing how fortunate I was, even if I don't get what I already got, I pray you never get too big to hold daddy's hand. Even when you're a little nervous, even if you know it'll pinch a little bit, even when the world says you're not good enough, daddy will be there. Girl dads.
That's powerful, bro. God
Wow.
dang.
Wow.
God
Thank you for
dang,
that,
bro.
man.
Sir, yes, sir.
Whoa.
Whew.
Man, appreciate y'all having me, brothers.
That's one of
Man,
those ones you gotta
rough.
breathe a couple times. Allergies started to
Yo,
flare up for a minute.
whew. Yo, we
Snaps,
want to
bro.
thank
Y'all
you again,
give
bro.
it to them. Snaps. Facebook
Thank
need
you
to
for
add some
that, man.
snaps on there.
Yeah,
Hey, you
man,
guys,
Thank you
first
for
of all,
that.
thank you
appreciate the
guys for
platform.
tuning in. Make sure you guys like and share this. For men that are not in our men's group but would love to join the men cave, we'll post it down the bottom. I'm glad you guys joined us, man. We could not do this without you. Mac, thank you for sharing
Sir.
your time and space with us. Damon, I love you, bro.
Hey, it's all love, man. We're excited. Listen, we've got two more of these freestyle Friday morning chats coming, and they're going to be amazing. So check in, and if you've missed everyone that's come before this one, or even the beginning part of this one, you can find them on our website at manhoodmasterclass.com. We've got all of our chats showing there, so you can catch up on those videos to keep up with what we've got with this first season.
The bar kind of high, bro.
Yo, amazing stuff, man. Yeah,
hey man,
thanks
hey
so
man,
much,
much love, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all brothers.
Absolutely.
About to have a dope ass Friday, man.
You too,
Yeah,
bro.
same to you. Y'all live it out there.
I think.